Hey guys, this is my second attempt of filming this. I tried before and it didn't work out. This is probably going to be, one of 2 or 3 segments, to just talk about everything. But again, this isn't beauty related, so if you don't want to watch, it's fine. It's just about my dad and everything. I figured it might help me talk about it because I haven't really been talking about it, which I should. But, a bit of background, it's about my stepdad. He's been there all of my life. My parents divorced when I was about 1.5, 2 years old, so I remember him being there even when I was around 2, 3 years old. He worked with my mom, and I remember them carpooling and stuff like that. But they got married and all that stuff, so like he's been there in my life the entire time. So, I may cry, I don't know, like I've tried this before and I cried then while I was filming, so like I don't know if I will anymore because I already got to that point, but you never know, I might cry. So basically what happened was, it was the second going into the third, my brother sent me a text message saying that my stepdad's Harry was in the hospital. And he's the type of guy that has a lot of pride and doesn't really go to the doctors like he should. So I was worried, but he didn't really know detail. So I was like, oh wow, like that's crazy. But I went to sleep. It was fine. The very next day, which was the third, I was working. My family members were trying to contact me. My sister, actually, she was sending me text messages, and then she was saying about my dad, that she was talking about him, and I was like, oh wow, like this isn't good. So I ended up calling on the sales floor just because like I couldn't wait to get to a break because it wasn't due for one at that time. I wasn't due for one at that time. So I called, and she was upset on the phone, but she was saying that he was in the hospital, that he had diarrhea, and he was throwing up, and eventually blood was in his stool and throw up, and, an old neighbor was telling my mom, don't mess around with that, like, take him to the hospital now, like, he needs to go. So, she was like, everything's fine right now, like, he went in for operation, and stuff like that. So, I was crying on the sales floor because I was worried, like, he went into surgery and everything. Eventually, my manager told me, look, just go on your break, or, well, not go on your break, she actually just said, just go get off the floor, like, call your sister, that way I could be in private, with the whole family situation. Like, I wasn't in trouble, but she was just looking out for me, like, you look, this is probably uncomfortable for you to talk about, like, with crowds of people just standing there. So, I went and we talked, and, I cried with her and stuff like that. And I went back onto the sales floor, and, like, obviously my mind was on my dad, like, worried about him, so I really couldn't concentrate. And she told me more about it on the phone, that, he, ended up getting surgery and having most of his small and large intestines removed, that he had a bowel obstruction, and that after he recovered, he'd be living off of those bags for the rest of his life. And that was, like, really hard to take in, that he would have to live off the bags for his bowel movements and everything. So I was upset about that, but I went back on the floor, couldn't concentrate. Every time I would think, like, like, alone in my thoughts without helping customers, I'd start to cry. So, eventually there was a phone call. I had a feeling it was for me, about me, but my department manager, Matt, picked up the phone, and it ended up being the assistant manager, Charisse, and she had said that I should go in the back. I guess they were going to be sending me home, I guess, because obviously I was very distraught, crying on the floor, like I couldn't concentrate on being at work, like who can at a time like that. So I go back there and she's looking at the schedule, and then she said that I had a family member on the line holding. So meanwhile, like while I was on the sales floor, I kept getting calls from my brother and my dad and my sister, but like I didn't pick up my phone. I should have known. Like I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I wasn't. Like, but I went back there and it was my sister, and she was sobbing. And she had told me that the condition was a lot worse than she had expected. That the doctors were saying that everybody should be there, like all of his family, that they should be there for him at that time. And I lost it. I was sobbing on the phone. And she was yelling at me saying, you need to get here right away, but you obviously need to get yourself together if you're going to be driving. She's like, you cannot drive under that condition. So my ex, Wade, works at the store, and they were debating having him, because he's met my family before, he's met my dad. Or my roommate Tyler, who also works there, they were debating him driving me as well. But the department manager, Amy, who has been my friend, but she offered to take me. I don't know, because of the staffing and the way it was, like she was going to be leaving in about an hour anyways, but they needed the guys there. I don't know. She offered to take me because I'd feel most comfortable with her as well, because I've been friends with her for quite a few years. So she drove me home to my biological father's house, and from there we were going to go to the hospital. My family lives about an hour away, so obviously I shouldn't have been driving, which is a good thing, because I cried quite a few times on the way there. So we made it to the hospital, and his entire family was there. Family that I hadn't seen in ages, like his ex and his children his child from the ex, and just everybody. There was a whole waiting room even of family. Like there was people in the hallway and in the waiting room. I guess I'm going to wrap this up because I'm gonna have to make another video of this. So basically, it all leads up to this point. Like I'm about to be going into his room, but I will make another video getting to that point.